This video demonstration is for the Denton benchtop turbo. I'm going to start right from the top. That is your bell jar with the guard, your hoist, your chamber, your deposition controller, your system controller, your EMO, main power off, and your start. So what you normally do is start this up here. Make sure your EMO button is pulled out, turn this on, and hit the start button, and you'll have the screen pop up on you. The deposition controller, I will show you how that works. The chamber here is, you got two sources. You got one source here, this is source 2. And then right here is source 1. You have a shutter that will be able to go to both sides right here. You have a rotary holder, specimen holder, which goes underneath, and you would tie it into the top of that. Tape it to the platen now. On the back side here, you have a turbo that pumps down the system. You have a mechanical pump, and then you have your hookups. This requires water to cool down the heavy feed-throughs for the source 2. Then you have your air supply that is for the shutter, and then you have a vent line here, which I don't have anything hooked up to it. On the other side, you have is your power in and your hookup for your mechanical pump. On the back side of your deposition controller, you can see you'll have your output that controls the system controller, and you also have the sensor, plus you have an I/O that will also control the shutter, and then your main power in. Now, here's your hoist controller. Right now we're waiting on this sensor to come in. It is broken, so we got to wait for it to come in, and we'll replace it. You see how the ones on the bottom is on and the one up top is hanging. Alright, so to operate this system, this is your main screen right here. And what I'm going to do is drop the lift down, and you can see the bell jar coming down. And those sensors that I'm replacing would stop this from coming down all the way, or it would stop it. The one that's broken is the one that would stop it from going all the way up top, so you don't damage the system. Once you got this down right here, all you want to do is hit auto pump. It will go into auto pump and turn on the mechanical pump and pump down this whole system. As you can see, this is starting to drop down, and we're going to come back to it when it's under vacuum, and I'll show you how to run manually, how to turn everything on and run the system. Alright, it's been pumping down for a while. You can see right now it's just in the 7 or 8 range, 8 and a 5 range. It does go below 5 and a 6 range, so it'll be a whole decade off. So what I'm going to do right now is I just want to go through the different screens. Of course, we were just in the overview, and this is what you just saw, where you can lift the bell jar up and down, and you can do the auto pump, auto vent, or auto process. Everything will be in the manual. I'll show you how to work it, but let me go to the next screen, which is your low voltage screen. This is how you control the two sources, like two thermal sources. You have a source A and a source B. I was calling them 1 and 2. And then you have two controllers here. Local means that this controller will control it, and remote means your deposition controller will control it. Then you have your shutter. If you hit the button, you can hear a solenoid going on there, and it just basically takes the shutter and goes over each source. And then you have a rotation. It's on and off, but There is another one. If I go to the screen right here and I go to rotation, I have it set at 50%. If I turn it on, it's really hard to see. I'll do it when it opens up to show you that part. This thing does not have heat, DC sputter, or glow. So these things, none of these count. PLC rack, it just shows you what your ins and outs are. You don't have gas on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right over to your low voltage. I'm going to run this locally. So right now we're at source A at 25%. If I was to turn this on, you're going to see a glow in there. So I'm going to shut it off because I don't want it to contaminate the glass or where we can't see anything here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going over to source B. Put the shutter over source A. I'm going to go 25% there. And there's the other source. You can see that I have material in there because right now it's at 50 angstroms a second. I'm going to turn that off. Kind of coated the glass already. So now I'm going to do is go into remote mode. So the remote's set for already on source A. I'm going to turn this on. So I have it on source A, remote, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here and take a look at the deposition controller. I'm going to put it on manual, and then I'm going to turn this knob. And you can see it, this is going up, and as this is going up, so is your amperage on here. So as your amperage is going up there, you're going to look at your rate right here. And you can start seeing them going up. Now I can hit this, put this on automatic and have it start the layer. And as you can see, it opened up the shutter, and now the power's going up. You see it's going up right here. This is line right here is your deposition rate, and that's at angstroms a second, and you can see it's starting to come up. Now I believe I had a 2 angstroms a second, so you can see it's right now it's going to fluctuate until it locks on to. Now I laid a pellet in there, so it just melted that pellet. But you'll see it start evening out, and as you can see now it's running smooth. The only spike was because that pellet was not melted at the moment, and you can see that it's at 11, and it's probably going to almost run out pretty soon, so it's going to fluctuate a little bit more. But there's your total thickness right now, your deviation, your rate is at, like I said, at 2 angstroms a second, and your power. I believe I have it at 200 angstroms, so maybe I can get it to go there before. Now the pellet's running out right now, so as you can see it'll ramp back up, but with a wire basket and the pellets, it kind of runs out of that basket a little quicker than it at this angstroms a second. If I probably knocked it down to 0.5, it would run nice and smooth. But you get the idea that it's trying to control it and everything. This might be going a little bit longer, but if I hit stop, it stops everything. You'll see this go down. In fact, it doesn't show you right here, but you can see right here, it stops it. All right, now if I want to vent the system, I would hit abort, everything right here, all interlocks are satisfied, and I just have to hit auto vent, and you can see it takes a long time for it to vent. That's the delay to make sure that the turbo pump doesn't crash while under vacuum. And I'll come back to it once it's vented completely. Alright, so what happened is the vacuum switch means that it's not activated. So instead of me hitting lift down, I should have hit lift it up, and then it will lift up. As you can see, she's lifted up, and we're back to where we started. So to make it go back down, just hold the button down. And that is the end of the test.